Cześć ludzie, what's up people? Hola, JT, Caro here. Caro and JT here. And Savannah is actually here. Today we have an episode about mixed... I was telling my wife that we should call this interracial relationships. She's like, no, that is what you find in porn. So
yeah,
this
mixed
is not...
relationship. How does being in mixed relationship, how does it change you? When people think about mixed relationships, the first thing is obvious that comes to mind, how does it, affect you, is learning about the new culture, right? So that's kind of like, okay, you are with me, so you learn about Polish people.
Okay.
For me, it would be Dominican culture. And this one is easy, so we don't have
Talking about it on her channel.
Yeah, well, no one knows it.
Well,
so,
actually, we have a video that we're going to put up here, that you can go there, where she... what was the name of that episode? Something about her and her experience in Dominican Republic.
Yes, it's pretty obvious, and okay, so if I'm dating a Dominican, I'm gonna learn about Dominican food.
Yeah.
Hopefully the language, Spanish, maybe also some dancing. Very often also people that go into those sort of relationships are already, let's say, studying or interested in this culture. Like, it was not the case for you.
No,
you were not learning Polish
before
you
had
had to
do
do
nothing about Poland before.
But it was the case for me. I was learning Spanish, and I knew about Dominican Republic. Obviously, you have a lot of competition because there are a lot of countries speaking Spanish, but still close enough.
Yeah. Especially here in Poland, it's like everybody
is very popular.
In love with Spain.
And he's a little jealous. I think what is more interesting and what kind of hits me years into being with you, how it changed, what you learn about your own culture. Wow. To me, that is completely eye-opening, mind-blowing, and I was not expecting it.
So like
before we were together.
Through the eyes of the other person about your own...
Redefining things that you thought were obvious, understanding what comes from... your cultural baggage, let's say. Like, it happens to me a lot because we live in Poland and you have a lot more observations about Polishness. Oh.
Yeah, we live here and everything.
Yes.
For example, before I was with you, I had no interest in going to South America. It's like, I was thinking, South America, yes, just, I know Latin America already. And then, because you started pointing out things to me about Latino culture and asking questions, I 100% agree with you. Learning about the new culture that you are adopting, but discovering things about your own culture that just completely goes above your head.
What was the thing that I taught you about Dominicanness?
In conversations, Latinos, we are speech givers, like someone gets in the podium and they deliver their speech and everyone is just listening and, making mental notes and everything. Yeah. In Polish culture, everyone is just talking at the same time, interrupting and just saying their point. Still, after 12 years, if I'm saying something and she says something to me, my brain gets a short circuit, like
interrupted,
and I'm like, what? Hold on.
Communication is not only words and language; it's also structure of speech, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Who speaks first? What information you give first? Like, Dominicans like to paint you a background first, right?
Yeah.
Polish people are gonna be like, he died, and then they explain, and Dominicans will tell you, there was this man, and he lived on the hill, and the house was yellow, and there were trees there, and then it's just, you were somewhere else, and I'm like, what are we talking about?
One thing that you learn that is undeniable is acceptance.
Or if you don't, you divorce.
You have to reach a certain level of acceptance. Things are going to be different, and you have to navigate your way around your new life. If you meet someone from your same cultural background, there is an understanding of each other's way of acting, way of reacting, customs. Even if you come from different families,
you still have differences, but
of course,
But
the moment that you are both from different countries, different cultures, it's like, dude, that's another level of zen and acceptance.
Those relationships, and that is a sad fact, mixed relationships have higher rates of divorce. And this is because of this extra layer of differences and extra layer of difficulty when you have more causes of conflict.
Yeah.
Because you think, that's not normal, this is normal. No, how can you say that? And then it can become personal, it can become an attack of, how can you say that to me, you don't appreciate or you don't understand.
Yeah.
So you really have to reach that level that, okay, we are with each other for a reason, because maybe some differences were what attracted me to this person.
But actually, differences are like in a mixed relationship.
The
pay
blessing
attention.
and the curse, right?
Yeah, pay attention. Like if you guys are in a mixed relationship, pay attention that usually what really gets you in through the door are the differences.
Yeah,
no?
and then they can get you out of the door as well.
It's like, there you go, one foot in, one foot out. But at the beginning, everything is beautiful.
Yeah.
Right? All the differences are exciting. But then, as you start getting a little older,
or you have children,
you get a little more set in your ways, and then that's where your upbringing comes rushing back at you.
Yeah, because you go on automatic.
Yeah,
right? And you're like going back to how you were or what you saw in your house. And then the other person is like,
what the hell are you doing?
You have to remind yourself and you have to accept that, okay, our life is not going to be exactly as I, saw my parents maybe or other families when I was a kid, because we have two cultures here and they need to merge. And, a beautiful example is our Christmas, right? That we always make an effort that we have meals from two different cultures wherever we are. So in Dominican Republic we would make something Polish. Here you always make some Dominican stuff. And also we try to meet between complete informality of the Latino and complete formality of the Polish Vigilia. You eat at a certain hour.
Oh my God, yes.
You have, your place settings and you sit, everyone sits at the same time. Then when it's time to get up and relax, everyone relaxes at the same time.
It's almost like a script.
Why isn't it relaxing?
It's almost like scripted.
To me, it is relaxing.
No,
but to
now it's time to relax. We're all going to go to the living room to relax.
3, 2, 1. So that makes me think of 3, 2, 1. No, 3, 2. 3, 2, 1.
Fire!
3, 2, 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. I knew you were gonna do. This reminds me. 3, 2, 1. This makes me think. It's like 30th time I'm doing that, but that's it. We're gonna keep this one.
How many 3, 2, 1s?
Children, having children.
Okay.
This is another thing that I actually made me think of this topic for this channel when I was looking at Savannah and I was like, you don't look like my child. And this is something
That's
that,
true.
Opens
Karolina
your...
is the
I'm the nanny. I
I
am the hired help. Obviously when you fall in love, and if you are interested in other cultures, then you fall in love with someone from different cultures, there are different things that you learn, like we mentioned. And then if you want to have children, you have children, right? Yeah. And they come. And then you were like, I always envision myself having, mixed children. Like, to me, this is something that is not, oh my God, it's weird. I was excited to it. I wanted to see how my children looked, from us being from two different ethnicities. But man, oh man! Some genes are really dominant. I know that it kind of affects me being excited about Vigo being similar to me in behavior. Yeah. I'm like, yes.
Vigo is just like Karolina.
I'm not going to die out completely, But, you look at them and they do look like, the other person. It can happen when you are in a racially or ethnically mixed relationship. Yeah. What do you think about that?
To me, what does sometimes gets me like, wow, is when I hear Vigo speaking just Polish to Karolina, I sometimes just stare at him and I go like, man.
Who are you?
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, wow.
Yeah. It gives you this feeling a little bit of being alien, or like otherworldliness, I guess.
Like who is that? Is that my child?
It's not as superficial as, they don't look like me, they have curly hair. I need to, by the way, learn to take care of it. This was a whole thing. Never brush curly hair when it's dry.
If you have curly hair, buy a leave-in conditioner.
Okay, that's not about that.
Okay.
It's not about that. This actually has a serious note. Like, you observe your child among peers, they are the different ones. And how do they cope with that? And how do you, I was a person grew up, among blonde, blue-eyed people, that I felt like, why don't I look different and special like everyone else? But with Vigo, I see how he handles that. Like, there was a moment where he wanted to have straight hair because all the other kids have straight hair, or he wanted to have hair like me, or we'll see how Savannah is gonna cope with that because
Now that you say that, I was thinking, I hope Vigo's not gonna watch this. But I was thinking when he was born,
you'll have
and I
better
saw him,
things to do than watch your old videos.
And I saw Vigo there, and I'm like, hey, I thought he would have at least blue eyes. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You were like, at least something from the other culture. Yeah, it shows you that the differences are what attracts you sometimes at the beginning, right? What also kind of gets me thinking is their names and the last names and how the world reacts to them. Like, Vigo does something bad everyone will know because he's probably the only Vigo in this country, or
Yeah.
maybe one of like 7, I don't know. Yeah, they would remember him by the first name or the look or just the aspect that it's a rare occurrence. You have to teach them and kind of also teach yourself how to live in this reality that people can react differently to it, right?
Yeah, yeah, 100%.
Not always positive, not always neutral, but you know, you kind of have to embrace it.
You have to
But
embrace
mostly
it.
positive. Let me disclaim here.
The fourth thing is that being in a mixed relationship teaches you patience. You will never be tried more often. The thing is that you are being challenged. That's what I think it is. You're being challenged on your way of thinking, on your customs, you're being questioned all the time. Why
Even
are we going to
things
do
like
this?
Spatial awareness that are different among cultures. It's
100%.
crazy the things that come up, you know, when you live with
100%.
someone.
Like, for example, we do things, Latinos, for example, we are community-based.
Yeah.
So even when I am going to do something like get Savannah from, to change her nappy, I would tell Karolina, come on, give her to me. Even though I don't want her to give her to me, I am just grabbing her.
And I immediately, as a Pole, say, but I'm doing something.
Or she tense up, like, but I cannot give her to you. What do you mean?
Or I jump up to do something. Also
Because
to, help
to you,
yeah.
it means give her to me. It's almost like a command, like come involve me, you know.
To you, it's a lot easier. To your culture, to do things like you can say, like as a community. You do things together. Teamwork is not a challenge for you guys, but for us, we are a lot more individualistic, and I think it's the European.
I think you guys are more compartmentalized,
maybe
in general, right? Because we know that Polish people are very family based.
We are family based. We're community based in a sense. I will explain the difference. I will do things for my family, but don't be interrupting me as I do them. When I'm cooking, get out of the way.
Get out of the way.
Or do your task, and I do my task. And you guys like to kind of, you drop this, and then the other person does it, and then you exchange, and it's more like, a dance, I guess.
100%.
We are marching.
100%. But it is a test to your patience. One thing that will pop up in a mixed relationship is cultural conflicts, like we are just describing.
Yeah.
Because the cultural differences can oftentimes do create conflict.
There's always some.
I don't think you ever, you as us, the people one, I don't think you are ever on autopilot. You can have a beautiful relationship where you communicate, where you are, I know how she thinks. It's dependable. I know what is going to happen. She knows what's going to happen. But it's always going to have to be a little bit of like, okay, I need to be patient. It's important not to confuse one thing with the other. You cannot mask bad behavior with, oh, this is my culture.
Oh yeah,
right.
It's easy. It's an easy way out, and we all sometimes try it.
For sure.
But,
let's face it. Like when someone is just being irresponsible. Like they were supposed to do something and they didn't do it because they didn't plan it.
For sure, it's also about where do you guys live, right? If you are a mixed couple, Latino and Polish, and live in Poland, then you're going to be more influenced by Polish reality.
Yeah.
But if you live in the Latino culture, you're not going to be there like, why is everyone late?
Yeah.
Because you are the one that is the odd one out. You
Exactly.
have to adjust more to how people do things in the place you live in. So the fifth and the last thing that I think is important to mention is resilience that teaches you. If you are in a mixed relationship, you very often, or one of you at least, are going to live in a different country. Sometimes you live in a third country.
Yeah.
Sometimes you speak a third language. So
Yeah.
it also kind of trains your mind and your character to learn more, to be more patient, like we mentioned before, to adapt to new circumstance, to be more resourceful, right? Be more flexible, especially if your culture is not flexible.
I think sometimes we misjudge how difficult it is to change things in our lives.
Yeah.
Like we all want to believe that, we are flexible. I can go and I can eat something different. I can, until you're faced with the challenge of really having to accept change in your life. And in a mixed relationship, like everything will be to some degree constantly different.
Yeah.
The
First of
definition
all,
fun.
9 times out of 10 you have to move somewhere.
Oh, for sure.
If you are dating someone from a different culture, unless you are American and the difference is just race, right? If you are different nationality,
Yeah.
then one of you has to move, or both of you have to move to a third country.
Or you have moved to another country.
Already this adds a layer of difficulty into your
Yeah.
life. Paperwork, renting,
Yep.
job searching, and
Yep.
then you are there alone, or you are relying on your partner. So,
Yeah.
you know, it makes the relationship also have to be very strong for this to work.
This is one of those things that you notice it as the years pile up in the relationship, how much you have gotten accustomed to constant change
Yeah.
and to being challenged. For instance, I am not a handyman. I'm not, a guy that fixes things very easily. In Poland, that's very common, very normal.
Yeah.
We live in this country. So one thing that I've tried is to, whenever
Mow
there's
the lawn.
little things like that, be
Yeah.
more resourceful, find tools in my bag
Yeah.
to try
Research
to
that
adapt.
and try and learn new
Yeah,
things,
to
right?
learn. Which in Dominican probably I wouldn't have done that. You know?
Even things like, it's funny that those little details that maybe some people could judge from, how he or she is not able to do that. But imagine Vigo's dad having to deal with radiators.
Vigo and Savannah's that.
Yes, sorry, excuse me, my daughter. Having to deal with heaters. Like, you
Yeah.
have not used them ever.
Yeah.
You never had them around you. And now
Yeah.
you're like, you have to learn. You have to get tools to get the air out of the radiators.
Exactly.
The same with the leaves that get into the gutter. It's called
The gutter, yeah.
It's like you never had to deal with that.
Yeah.
Now it's like fall comes, all the leaves
Yeah.
fall. You know, there's always things that you need to kind of be like, okay, I'm strong enough. I have to do
Yeah.
it. I have to learn. I have to go ahead and face my reality.
And you learn to be okay with that. It just gives you so much more of an ability to adapt.
For me, facing parenthood alone for long stretches of time, like
Yeah.
if I didn't, like if I was in this cozy vibe, cozy mental space that, and I don't want to look down on people that live like that, because most people live like that. You grow up, you go to school, you start working, and you are either in the same country or even the same city, and
Yeah.
your reality is not adding to the difficulty.
Yeah.
Maybe the new school, new job, maybe new people. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's adaptation. That's
Yeah.
you have to have resilience if there are difficulties at work. But at least the weather is the same.
Yeah.
The infrastructure is the same. Admin is the same.
There's some
you
sort
know?
of like autopilot of sorts.
Yes, and when you all of a sudden also feel like you're being turned around every time
Yeah.
you move to a new country, it becomes like, wow, now I am so much stronger all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Turns out that it does give you this extra
It does.
power. So yes, we recommend.
It's painful. It's painful, but in the end, you do learn
What
something.
do we learn to just look at the brighter side of life, I guess.
Boom! That's all, guys. That's the end of this episode. I hope you liked it.
And if you have any personal experiences with the topic, please share in the comments, because we are excited to know what we've missed.
Where you're from. If you're in a mixed relationship, who is your partner? Where are they from?
What's their social
Where do you-
security? Where do they work? What money they're making? We want to know it all.
Comment and let us know.
Bye!